Shall we start?
Yeah.
Someone is updating the readme.
Yeah, I already did a few improvements this morning on.
Who is interested in the SOX 5 box?
I have no idea.
Okay, nice. There's a pull request. The merge.
The only problem is that he doesn't have his UCLA thing, but yeah.
Yeah, just ask him to,
We can ask him to sign it, but it's just for documentation. I don't know.
Is it not quite active?
Quite active, yeah. But now
Azure deploy.
interesting. I'm really wondering how that person found the SOX 5 proxy.
You have to be really active.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll ask you the same.
Just press the big not covered button and fill in 2 fields. I also still don't understand why. I know I understand for companies, but for individuals,
That's needed for legal reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also just one documentation entry. It's proper English, so.
Oh, and Joseph has actually signed the thing. Or it's not showing. Actually, does it check? Yes.
It would be weird if he had
Yeah,
if his
sure.
user would not be. Yeah, I also checked that. They changed something in the PR, and then it's just the documentation links within the Ruby files.
Oh, so that's also thorough. There's nothing checking that. Why would you?
It's from SAP.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the person from Microsoft doing the.
No.
Oh, okay.
They are doing backing services.
Oh, we still someone needed to look at this, right?
Yeah, I need an.
I don't have access to that PR, to that CI.
No.
Yeah.
No, but that's fine. I mean, we don't have to, like, we just need to merge it, I guess. And then someone will
You can
probably.
assign me if you want. I can, but I don't also have access to this. I can
No,
go.
but I mean, we're just looking for approval here, right? And then the next time someone touches plus CLI, they will get a surprise if they update the CLI.
I will check that it's everything what was done for macOS ARM that's fitting also.
This one is controversial.
Yeah, I looked at it quickly, but I found it weird that it was just for basically for 2 file changes and then 240 file changes with some weird version number.
Yeah, but
that
it has
changed.
to do with
Timeouts.
yeah. So this is generated stuff, right? So these are the templates.
Yeah, and the rest is all the generated
stuff,
and I
yeah, so they are using a new version of Swagger CodeGen, right? And then after that, it's all version. Oh yeah, so it's just that version. Oh, but I don't see the actual timeouts change.
It was
well,
the
that's,
first,
up, that's at the top, and
uh,
then 2 files later.
Yeah,
so at the top they have
2 files later. Oh, there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I think a few here, like also doing with the
No, but those are the
required.
mustache ones.
So that's yeah.
Oh,
I
here it
think it
is.
should be maybe in 2 commits.
Here it is. I mean, this makes sense, right? Because it's just regenerate the stuff with a new version. I mean,
I understand, but maybe all these Swaggers stuff should be in a completely different commit, just for easier readability.
I'm not agreeing with that. I mean, it makes sense that you would, when you rerun that generation, the generator, you use the latest version available, right? Or do you want them to install this specific version, then run it, and then
No, I don't mind, but it's
separately?
nicer that if this is in a separate, it can be in the same PR, but in a separate commit.
Now you mean the files, so you only put
that Swagger files changes
these
because
files.
It's really annoying because now you need to scroll through like, oh yeah, oh there they changed it. Oh yeah.
Sure. I mean, feel free to comment. I don't have a strong opinion on this one, but if you feel like doing that, I will assign this.
Oh, man. Oh, comment.
Okay. I mean, it's fair, and I think I mean, the same has been done the other way around, right? You've had comments about not having enough commits and stuff before.
the ARM one is waiting for review, but
Which
yeah.
one?
ARM 64. You don't have any changes requested on it, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Pending review, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is actually also pending review. And this is basically pending merge, but it's blocked. We don't have a column for that.
Oops.
Yeah, I think we should only be caring about BOSH deployment, right? These changes were made like a long time ago.
I was looking at it and I didn't even understand. I didn't even understand it.
Wasn't this the stuff that Benjamin looked into like a long time ago?
Yeah. But didn't we? So it's basically if people still use the agent way of setting the BOSH.agent for the setting the blob store stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And not in the cloud properties env BOSH. Is that what this was about? Is this what this is about? Or just a bit confused because I was looking at it and I thought, huh? Why are we deleting everything?
Because the agent, the CPI shouldn't get these settings and should just be receiving it through the agent env or something. This is just the settings, right? This is the settings of the CPIs.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like for everyone who is not using BOSH deployment and is configuring like an AWS external bucket for the blobs, should they use the env.bosh blob source now?
It's like some links here.
Yeah, I only looked at it for like 5 minutes, not even.
Yeah, this is.
So basically, everything needs to be set in here. That's what we now do by default.
Yes, and I believe we had a file from there was something signed here.
Yeah, but that's just using signed URLs. That's probably.
Yeah, I know, but I was here, this stuff.
Yeah, that's also putting in the agent env BOSH. Are we also deleting?
No, but it's also putting it here in properties blob store. Wait, is that what this does?
Because then SAP is going to have a problem if because they use signed URLs.
Oh, if you use signed URLs, you shouldn't have any issues.
Yeah, so the problem is that it's global, right? So this these settings are on the BOSH directory are using global settings, and then we have blob store, blob store provider, and that's why we had to set properties blob store here, because these settings are not used anymore. Here, not used but required by some CPIs.
Yeah.
Right. These lines, that's basically the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So these are going to be okay.
So we can get rid of this, right? This was not something that was used anymore, but it was there because otherwise the CPIs would break. And now the cleanup is happening.
So basically, the CPI shouldn't care about blob store stuff.
Yeah, because it got put in. Yes, and this issue has all the context.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now I understand now. Okay.
So I'm gonna add this one as context. Um,
Ideally, so you have only the nuts credentials in the metadata service, and it should be enough to just connect and afterwards rotate them and get everything else.
yes, that's the end goal here.
Yeah, okay, I get it now. I was just a bit confused. I saw all these removals and I was looking into this text. Okay. Missing something probably.
Oh, PR which only removes stuff.
It removes a lot. Okay.
Yeah, it looks good to me, given all the context. Just look up.
Yeah, in the past we tried multiple times to remove these properties, but somehow failed because of different dependencies. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, like we had to do all that other stuff first, right? And that is now done and has been out there for a while. So this is basically now a good time to start the cleanup.
Yeah, it's good stuff, of course. This is
okay. I will add some life cycle peoples. Benjamin, he will like this one. He was not happy with that. We didn't do it the last time he looked at this stuff.
Maybe GitHub Copilot get active here and find out.
Yes, all AI driven.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at some issues. Nothing.
Yeah.
I like that.
Liked it. But yeah, we haven't gone through.
Maybe we can look at some old ones.
There are a lot of old ones.
Shall we start at the bottom? All the ones with the latest or the oldest activity. Maybe we can close some things out.
Yeah, nobody responded anymore on it, so. Necessary when needed. Yeah.
Reopen it, sure.
Yeah. You can copy that line. You don't need it.
I already did that.
Yeah,
I'm
great.
way ahead of you.
And nobody is responding on it anymore.
Show.
We had that one.
Yes. Not updating. Oh no, this is it?
Yeah. the same dude. You
Mhm.
don't even change the name.
Yeah, other stuff that's good. Pending prioritized. Yeah, that's still being worked on, right? The Azure external blob store.
Yes.
Yeah, that's still Matthias working on that.
I'm not gonna touch any VirtualBox things because people can tend to be really fanatic about those ones. If I ping something there, then we'll keep reopening things. This guy.
Yeah. You can close this one. I don't care. I don't care anymore.
You don't care enough for that one to do.
It was just for okay. If someone has time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So this is the throughput changes.
Those have been merged, right?
No, because you cannot. He wants to change it without.
Oh yeah, no, we're not gonna do that.
Without doing that, and the problem is that these things are in cloud properties, same as with disk type. And we looked into for the director changes to retrieve that, and it's all AWS specific. So then we're going to build AWS specific stuff into the director.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen.
Which we don't want to do. So. Yeah, the only way for him is just because Bosch doesn't care. It's not when you do a deployment, it's not going to check the throughput only when it's being redeployed, or really a clean deployment for the disk, which is probably never going to happen for him. So the best option for him is what they're currently doing also for the GP2 to GP3 migration, is they are just using Bosch and AWS CLI to Bosch to retrieve the disk type and then go to the AWS CLI in a for loop and as to the live migration stuff. Because it's only a small setting in there is no downtime needed, anything for this. It's just an
AWS.
It
just doesn't fit with the model, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I would not build this into the directory. It's for resize, size was easier because size was is for every IS. It's the same, but all these properties are specific.
But what he's saying here is that like.
No, what he's saying here, I like how the natively resize works. That's basically what he's trying to do. And he likes how it works. But
he says if the size is the same and the settings are different, it uses the AWS API to natively change it. And this is doing that.
Yes, as soon as you change the properties, it will not go through the resize function within a directive, because the resize function it's only being hit when the size is different and the properties are the same. But here we change the properties and the size is the same. So we never hit that native resize. We never hit the native resize. So it never goes into that code path.
So you need another API in the CPI update properties, and maybe...
Yes, and then you get into the whole. Okay, we get into cloud properties, and cloud properties is different for every IaaS. There is no synchronicity between any of those. They all have their own naming for everything.
But I mean, like, it's not a wild. I mean, the idea could work, right? Using the native disk resize also for when only the properties change.
Yes, but then you still
You don't know which property changed, but
yeah,
Yes.
we don't know which.
you see that there's a change, and you don't call you don't fall back to like the old resize.
Yeah.
So you're not going to create a new disk. You're just going to make it a problem of the. But I mean, like ideally, you would have something where you would try, right? So you could have the director try the native disk resize, and then or not. Yeah, the native disk resize, and then it would like be able to send back an error code saying I cannot process this request, and then it would go back to like the native or the old way.
Yeah, but as soon as you go to the native disk resize, yeah, you go into, because then we have in a director, it basically falls back if the resize fails, and then it goes back to the old way. If the CPI gives an error, or if the resize function in the CPI does not exist, it will go back to the normal copy copy create resize disk. So it's only checking which if the resize if the API and the API function for the resizes got hit within the CPI. If it doesn't exist, it will just error out. I don't think we can say, okay, then we don't check for the sizes, and then when you are changing cloud properties and you change the disk size, then the CPI needs to have like, okay, what is actually changed and what are the possibilities?
But that's like a CPI problem, right?
Then are you going into then you need to go a shitload of array of possible cloud properties that have the ability to natively because AWS has only for the GP2 to GP3 disks, they have like a zero downtime change. The throughput is one of them, but for other disk types, it doesn't work.
Yeah, sure. But that's then up to the CPI, right? So the CPI can check, oh, this change I can do like faster, and if it's not supported, it will just error, and then the other flow will be used. I mean, that would be the way to implement it. It would be a lot of work. I don't know if it's worth it, but that's how you could do it.
Yeah, but then the user always need to change. So if they change only the throughput, they also need to change the disk size a bit.
No. You wouldn't. So the director would need to change, right? So the director would, if only so it basically would always try, if there's any changes to a disk, the size or cloud properties, it will always try the native disk resize. And then the native disk resize can give a response on if it actually supports that flow or if the other thing needs to, and like that whole different flow needs to be opt-in, right? Because not all, or maybe it even needs to be like a CPI version change.
Yeah, the disk resize won't fit anyone's name because
yeah. Also that, yeah. So yeah, I think it's way too big. Walking through it. I mean, it could be done. It's just way too big for what.
So basically, you delegate to the CPI, and yeah.
Yeah. So we only have to remove one check within the director, and then it will always go.
Or disk resize. We would have. No, maybe we need. Well, we need an. Disk update, native disk update.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can
This
But
was
then
my initial idea. Yeah,
the problem is then we need to change every CPI again because the
No, but then you have to no. Then you have the same thing, right? It's opt-in. Like if the CPI doesn't implement that function, it won't be called.
Yeah.
So you want to add another one?
Yeah,
Just
just
the
another
resize
function.
disk already exists.
Yeah, so it would be update this native update this.
Because if you go over the resize, you have to touch all the CPIs which implement resize, native disk resize.
But then you also get in the process, if you change the size and the properties, then you're also fucked.
No, then both will be called. And that should
I
be
don't
fine.
know.
Because one is
Yeah.
doing the native, is resizing it, and then one is updating the properties.
Okay.
Mhm.
It sounds scary. I see a lot of possibilities where shit, where people would go, it doesn't work.
I mean, if you implement it in a CPI, you know which cloud properties you support, right? So you can make sure that all these properties work.
Yeah, true.
And like that function should also error to say like this is not like be able to respond with not supported, right? Like if a certain update is not supported, and then the old flow will be used as a fallback.
Yeah, so but then you get things like in a two-step. So if the disk size is the same, and then it goes to the next phase if properties are different. So you have like everything happens then in a two-step.
Yeah, well, that should be fine.
Okay.
The question is whether we want that.
Yeah.
It's going to adding some complexity here and there.
Flexibility.
Yes. So what's the CPI? Spec. Where's the spec? Where's the spec? Right? Where's this stuff? Is native disk resize? Attached to is it even? Oh wait, API v1. That sounds really promising. What's the naming convention? Disk.
Disk hint.
With interfaces. That sounds really good.
So there was also on Bosch some documentation about the CPI APIs, I think.
Where? Oh, version 1,
version
2.
Over
methods.
Methods, yeah, here.
Ah, there it is. Calculate VM properties, host disk. Ooh, set disk metadata. Yeah, that's just for property for. That's about something else.
Yeah, this native disk resize is not here. Or what? Methods create disk.
Yeah, it's not in here. I think no one ever documented this.
Nice.
I think we saw there was an issue that is not documented somewhere. I saw an issue at some point. Resize disk most probably.
Is it? Yes.
Yeah.
So how would you? So if we have resized disk.
Yeah, but that's
Then we
just...
would have an update disk, right?
Yeah.
Slightly different. To add.
You don't use the just paste on top of it feature. You can paste the link on top of resize disk and magic will happen.
You can?
Yeah.
That's, oh, nice. But then something like that.
Yeah. Probably if I open the code for your workspace. Yeah, so it's in the source Bosch director lib Bosch director disk manager. That's the file that he needs to look at.
Okay. Something like that. And yeah, I think we can leave it at that.
Okay.
Talk to you all later. Or is there anything else you want to discuss?
No.
I was wondering this week I was looking into the Bosch I/O stuff. It's so we wanted to migrate it to Cloud Foundry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that the work to actually do that has been like pushed down a bit in our backlog, so I don't think we're gonna get to it
I didn't see
because
one
it.
from Bosch.io in here, by the way.
Hmm?
I created a a PR for Bosch.io for web for the deprecating.
Maybe we have too many dumb things.
Yeah.
We are still green. But wait, Bosch.io is not. No, that's the problem. Bosch.io is not in here because it's in a different org.
Oh, okay. Well, I created a PR for deprecating Bionic.
Is it in web?
Huh?
In web?
In web, yes. So we changed all the messages that for Xenio and Trusty that were pointing to Bionic. They are now pointing to Jemmy. And I put a notification banner for Bionic as well.
Okay. I will look at it.
Yeah, no problem.
I don't think you all have access in this repo. That's why we wanted to migrate, right?
Yeah, I don't have direct access to this. It's going from my personal GitHub account. I normally don't do that. I normally create branches.
Okay.
You okay?
Yeah. Beyan, were you talking about the Bosch.io domain migration or the repo migration?
The repo migration, I thought that we did the repo migration, but it's
no,
not.
we didn't.
No, okay.
So we have that PR that like where we talked about like the naming and stuff, and now it needs to be done, right? And that hasn't happened because the team has no like bandwidth currently to look at it.
But at some point we created the repositories. Or was I somehow...
No, I think we created like there's a draft PR in here.
Yeah, I know. I remember the draft PR. I know it. Yeah. Okay. All fine.
Yeah. Is it that one? No. Yeah, this one.
Schedule. Are we going to?
Wasn't that the security person from?
Oh, that's
someone from SAP, I believe. So a lot of discussion.
The SAP security dude from the.
Probably.
Oh, I somehow missed this one. Yeah, he's from SAP. Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to have it like every week or something. I don't know. He wanted to have like really tight scheduling.
When was this converted to drafts?
I don't know.
Oh, there were answers that I didn't even look at.
Oh, he was being drafted because he was in parental leave, so he couldn't be.
I was in parental leave. I somehow didn't.
I see. No, we'll wait for him to come back. Okay. Talk to you all later.
And I want temporary access to bootloader. Damn it.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
I need to change some simple task files every time I need to. Oh man, damn it! So annoying.
Okay. Talk to you all later. Bye.
Have a nice evening. See you. Bye bye.